XRP is being evaluated to replace the entire United States SWIFT payment system. This means over $1.25 quadrillion, in this case, $1.5 quadrillion market will be facilitated onto the XRP ledger and cost $3,000 price per XRP. In fact, this is only a small portion of what we're looking at for what is actually going to go into the XRP ledger, with over 654.39 trillion of that dollars actually shifting onto the XRP ledger via real estate through an institution called RealFi. But again, we're only getting started here. There's so much money that's about to jump on board the XRP ledger and cause XRP to skyrocket. And this is so important because when you take a look at what the price of XRP will actually be, we're talking about the potential for it to be from $45 to $250 in literally 5 days. This is the scale, right? In a week, we could see a breakout from XRP $3 to $250, which again means that for every like $1,000 invested, you're making over like $250,000. It's insane, but the number here is actually massive because we are not talking about this being long-term. This is short-term price prediction, 250. Long-term, close to around $10,000 to $20,000. And it's not my words, but the words of Managing Director of Liable Capital, Jimmy Valley. And this stance has also been reaffirmed by multiple of Ripple's own officials, like Ripple's CTO, known as David Short, who confirmed banks have begun integrating XRP ledger technology and XRP the digital asset for payments, revealing that Ripple Bank, which is a bank that Ripple plans to actually launch, they've already gotten licensed for it, and they've gotten permits and so on and so forth, will run 100% of transactions on the XRP ledger. Again, a massive new market unlocked in the trillions of dollars. He also mentioned that it will drive all payments into the XRP ledger and unlock trillions of dollars. Now, trillions of dollars are also ready to flood through the XRP ledger once again through the real estate market, and we're going to talk more about that later because, again, there's a lot about that. To the point that even Ripple's own CEO, which is Brad Garlinghouse, you guys can see him right now in the video, literally said that XRP will settle all the money in seconds. Why is that? Again, trillions of dollars will shift onto the XRP ledger and the price will soar. But it's so much money here that is going to be unlocked to the XRP ledger, and it's happening in such a short period of time that supply shock is likely going to happen. And this always goes back to our reference point, which is $3,000 per XRP. That is what's about to occur right now, and what we're about to see is $250 of that per XRP price happen in a week or so. Now, of course, again, there's a lot we got to get into because even Ripple's CEO David Short also mentioned that XRP will outpace Bitcoin. Huge. Why is it huge? Well, because he said it's going to outpace Bitcoin in market cap, meaning the price of XRP is going to absolutely soar. He also mentions that sentence that XRP will outpace and replace Bitcoin after Forbes, which is a prominent business and news outlet, actually released a report saying that XRP will hit over $60,000, and the title of that was XRP is designed for $10,000. No, sorry, that was Arthur Bridger mentioning it, but Forbes released an article published titled "The New Bitcoin is XRP and it's heading to $59,789. Now, this is a very big deal, guys, because if you take a look at the timeline and the correlation, when you have Ripple CEO saying XRP will outpace, XRP will replace Bitcoin, and then you have Forbes, the biggest business and news outlet, actually come out and say XRP is the new Bitcoin and it's going to hit 59,000, we obviously know that there's going to be something happening on the back end. Trillions of dollars will flow and it will cause an imminent supply shock. And we're talking about $60,000 in the report, it said, by the end of 2026 and 2027. So obviously, when we look at it from a bigger angle, we are seeing that massive shift where trillions are going to flow into the XRP ledger. Now, before we go ahead and actually show you guys all the facts and the details on the reports that are very crucial to what we're talking about here, I wanted to tell you guys that we did actually go ahead and partner with Uphold to give every single person watching this video some free XRP. Guys, this is free money that you guys can literally claim. Just like the video, subscribe, share this video, and most importantly, sign up on Uphold using my link in the description and do a transaction. Again, it's free money. You get up to $100 where you can then buy XRP with. It's definitely the way to go, specifically when we talk about XRP potential hitting tens of thousands of dollars. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So listen to this, $2.80 is the current price of XRP, but in the next couple of days, it will hit substantially higher, 25, 45, 250. All of this is the real potential of XRP, and all of this has been factually proven due to the trillions of dollars and the massive volume that's about to surge and enter the XRP ledger. And specifically, when you talk about the XRP ledger, we're talking about XRP. And a lot of the big financial institutions and the big elite institutions that do global payments and facilitate payments worldwide, including tokenization, like JP Morgan, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, and there's plenty more, right, that rule. But the top three are Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and JP Morgan. These guys all see potential in XRP. In fact, there was a report that was released that actually confirmed that both JP Morgan and BlackRock had teamed up to accumulate quietly XRP. But forget about that for a second. Move that to the side as we report that Forbes, yes, Forbes, the largest financial and business news outlet, verified actually reveals that $60,000 price per XRP could be a reality. And it's not the first time that they actually talk about this. We're talking about them actually posting an article and saying they predict XRP would be worth over $60,000. But why is this? If you do research, you'll realize and you'll notice that there's a multi-trillion-dollar market that is about to open up for the XRP ledger, a massive $654.39 trillion market, which could flow into the XRP ledger in mere weeks. Now, it's huge because it's happening to the point where the real estate market in its entirety is about to shift onto the XRP ledger, and it's already begun to happen. Take a look at this. You can now buy real estate worldwide in 50 plus locations using Real Token on the XRP ledger. And this means that you now have access to over 10,000 plus properties valued over $2 billion across the globe in different locations that you can now buy real estate with. And it's happening again on the XRP ledger. So basically you can convert your XRP into real world assets and your real world assets into XRP. And even if you don't decide to use XRP, you can facilitate it through the XRP ledger. Now it's happening all through the Real Token, which is the institution RealFi uses the native token that is built on the XRP ledger, the Real Token. And if you look into it enough, you'll realize that this is only the beginning of the mass scale adoption and the mass amounts of money that is about to shift onto the XRP ledger. Because take a look at this. RealFi, the institution that is backing the entire real world asset real estate on the XRP ledger, has posted that over the past several months, they've introduced the RealFi payment solution and the RealFi asset marketplace, both entirely built on the XRP ledger and powered by the Real Token. In just a few days, we will officially conclude phase 1 and begin phase 2 of the RealFi ecosystem, focused on globalized adoption and integration of our technology, with the Real Token at the center point of the next stage of growth. The future of real estate and payments is accelerating, and RealFi is leading the path, and something big is coming. Now, you got to understand here, what is a Real Token? Real Token is built on the XRP ledger, which means that with every transaction that actually takes place in Real Token or anything that RealFi facilitates, because they're using the native token Real Token, it is on the XRP ledger, it's burning XRP, it's actually causing money to flow into the XRP ledger. Imagine this, you want to buy an asset or you want to buy a real house, any sort of real estate using XRP. You would convert XRP into Real Token, and Real Token would convert into that, the asset, it would be switched. On the other hand, imagine it like this, if you were trying to go from fiat to Real Token to buy that real estate, what you do is you'd have to actually spend $1 million or such amount, whatever the real estate price is. So let's say you want to buy a $100,000 piece of real estate. You'd buy XRP, you'd convert that XRP to Real Token, and then you'd buy that piece of real estate. Huge, because it's introducing, again, trillions of dollars of transactions. Same would go for your selling. This is a big deal, guys. This is actually huge. And again, it's a multi-trillion dollar, $654 trillion market that was just unlocked for the XRP ledger. And the Real Token is currently priced at 3 cents. I mean, it's dirt cheap for the amount of money that's about to facilitate. I mean, this thing is huge, innovative technology. It's innovative, it's utility-based, it's backed by like a multi-million, like how many huge institutions. There's a lot of speculation that even RealFi, the institution that is using the Real Token, is actually partnered with Ripple, because it turns out they've met a lot. So there's a lot of talk about RealFi, the institution, and how big this is. And because RealFi is using the Real Token, I mean, it's a big deal here. It's a huge deal, in fact. And we're not talking about, it going from, 3 cents, which is still insane, it going from 3 cents to $10. No, we're talking about you making millions of dollars off of Real Token. The fact that it could literally go from 2 or 3 cents to over $65,000. Why? Because again, it's very low supply. Supply is sitting at, phase 1 supply was 100 million. Imagine that. 100 million is nothing. They've already burnt 80% of their phase 1 supply, meaning they're sitting at 22 million supply, which is nothing. Imagine that. Imagine supply shock instantaneously. I mean, just 1% of their original supply, which is 100 million, 1% of $650 trillion goes into Real Token, okay? And they have 100 million supply. Imagine that, but they don't, because now they have 22 million. The price would soar from 2 cents to $65,000. Imagine that. It is insane. The point here is that you can make from $10,000, millions of dollars, from 1,000 potentially even millions, because the amount of increase, the hundreds of thousands of percentages increase, is likely when you get, a project that is actually solving a real problem, that's innovative, that is utility. And after all of this, it's also on the XRP ledger. It's insane. And this is not my words, right? But you're getting these analysts that have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 followers that are very, they know a lot about the market. They've been in the market for years. These analysts are literally telling you that it's solving a massive problem, and that it's a multi-trillion dollar, $650 trillion market, and that it's going to go from 3 cents to $65,000. I don't know what else you need to see. On top of this, Ripple themselves announced on their page that there's a $600 trillion real estate market that's coming to the XRP ledger. Who are they talking about? Probably RealFi. RealFi, what do? Well, RealFi is using the XRP ledger through what? Through the real token. So just imagine that, and remember this, RealFi, okay, RealFi uses the real token, and again, they're adopting a multi-trillion-dollar market. But the real token, when it first launched, and this was, again, it's very, very new actually, when it first launched, it was sitting at 1/100th of a penny, and I remember looking at it and saying, you know what is this project? I didn't even know anything about it. But it was 1/100th of a penny, and 3 months later, it's sitting at 3 cents. So obviously, you know, now I bought in, of course. I can't be missing out another golden opportunity. And I tell you guys this because I don't want you to do something similar to me. Like, I don't want you to miss out on a golden opportunity, but I want you to do your research. At the end of the day, I'm not a financial advisor. You're probably not a financial advisor either. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. What I'm telling you is not financial advice and should not be taken as it at all. And you should always do your research. And this is what I'm emphasizing, is do your research on these projects. It's these very few projects that are very utility-based. They're backed by institutions. They are, when you take a look at it, again, this is like really solving a real-world problem. All of these, and it's on the XRP ledger, I mean, it doesn't get crazier than this. And it's very rare to see projects like this that actually have all the boxes checked. Why? Because, again, most of the time that you see meme coins, this is not a meme coin, and most of the real big projects are already huge. Like, they're already listed on Binance, Crypto.com, all the major exchanges. They're facilitating hundreds of millions of dollars in daily transaction volume for the token, of course. Real token is not even listed on one centralized exchange because it's very, very early still. Imagine once it's listed on a centralized exchange. Guys, this thing received a 100% score, which never happens except for big projects like XRP. XRP usually has a 100% score. All the little guys don't have that. Why? Well, it's because it's a real-based project backed by institutions. I mean, this is a big deal here. Take a look at top 3 holders, low risk, KYC score, 100% KYC. This is insane. Binance score is, again, 100%. Take a look at total wallets, 3,254. This is all without a single centralized exchange, without mass, like we don't see posters for real token, or forget about real token because real token is decentralized. We don't see posters for RealFi coming out and saying we use real token. Why? Because it doesn't matter. They actually are transacting, and that's what's causing the transactions. At the end of the day, imagine it were to happen where people would actually see real token and people would talk about real token, the price would soar. No questions. This is without volume, and it's happening. Why? Well, it's because, again, it's a real-world problem that's being fixed, and it's using real token. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to conclude the video here. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I'm telling you guys this because, again, I'm not financial advisor, not financial advice, so doing research. Do your research. I think this is huge. I think this is the next 100x token, at least 10,000x, probably. At least 10,000x, in my personal opinion. But you never know what happens. I mean, it's the crypto space. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.